I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about it. I shouldn't have to talk about it. Well, that's just a belief. I obviously have to talk about it. Um, so I've been putting off making a real video about male genital mutilation, aka baby circumcision or child circumcision. Um, anything that any genital surgery that occurs on children under the age of 18. Um, I consider to be mutilation. And I've been putting off a video because I wanted to have like really high production value, or I wanted to have, big volumes full of facts, like, the 16 functions of the foreskin, and, the similarity between the glands, the head of the penis, and the clitoris, and all the information about brain development and how circumcision harms the brain and creates an atmosphere of fear in the brain that is never fully that children, there's no way to return the brain to baseline after genital cutting. I wanted to talk about chemical bonding between love mates, and how when you have a keratinized, the head of the penis is keratinized because of exposure, because that skin is gone, the foreskin is gone. It decreases the ability for chemical messengers to go between the glands and the vagina, which are bonding chemicals. So people that women that are with a partner who has their foreskin, if they if they choose not to use protection, um, then if they're in a fluid bonded relationship, they have chemical messengers that go between them, and it creates a level of bonding that is unduplicatable in with couples in which there's been male circumcision. Um, and I want to write all this stuff down and talk about every little detail. But why the fuck? Why should I have to do that? I'll do it. I'll do it. But why do I have to do it? Because it's so fucking simple. People are like, well, maybe I need a bunch of information. Yeah, okay. Here's the fucking information. The information is A, medical industry keeps this up because they make, they can charge the insurance or charge individuals on average somewhere between $300 and $600 a procedure. It's usually about $400. So they make $400. And then they sell the foreskin parts, which are filled with stem cells. It's like very, very, very potent. It's very valuable skin, very valuable. If you can get baby skin, so this is on the level of biological material of like fetuses, aborted babies, and placentas. This is like really, really good quality cells, and full of stem cells, full of genetic material that's very young and ripe and just the best of the best. So they sell this stuff. They sell the foreskins in mass to companies who then grind up the cells and grow the cells in petri dishes and then make facial cream. Oprah Winfrey has actually talked many times about loving her foreskin skin cream, how it keeps her young, which is really fucking disgusting. We can get stem cells from aborted fetuses, we can get them from plants, and apples, fruits. We don't need to get them from cutting up babies' penises when we're planning on keeping those babies alive and having them grow into adults. We don't have to take their body parts. But anyway, so it's a very lucrative industry, both for the doctors, for the insurance, for I don't even know how much insurance covers this shit anymore, because people know it's not necessary, and in fact, it is plastic surgery. Plastic surgery on an infant, completely plastic surgery, completely not necessary, unnecessary. Um, so it's a profit making thing. Anyway, and of course, it's kept in place because of religious beliefs, which we are, if if you're gonna mostly with the religious beliefs, it's with Jews, okay. if you're gonna follow the Talmud or whatever, okay, and you're gonna like not eat pork, and you're gonna kill, in this kosher slaughter, and you're gonna keep slaves, and you're going to have your wife go into a hut for her entire menstrual cycle, leave the house, and then have her wait 7 days, and then go to the the rabbi, to make sure that her discharge is, so you can only have sex like 1 week a month. If you better follow all those fucking rules, or don't talk to me about religious circumcision, because it's disgusting. And I would rather for every religion to be blighted off the earth. Blighted off the earth. I'd rather there be no more of any of these religious books and religious thoughts for basically any religion. I get rid of all religion like that in order to stop people from thinking that cutting on babies' genitals is a good idea. Because we could create new myths for ourselves, but this myth is really old and really tired and really disgusting, and it affects everyone. Okay, I want to go back in time and have a father who was intact and had his whole body. I want for my older brothers to have the safety and to know to be intact men. I want for my lovers and my husbands to be intact men and feel safe in their body. I want for my son, and thankfully my son is intact, but all these men in my life, I want them all to feel safe in themselves, and not to have people have to have inflicted harm upon them in this very intense and very primal way, when they were infants. So anyway, the biggest thing, I think the only thing that we really need to, the only question that we can ask ourselves, that's the only question I have, okay, first of all, the moms make the decision, okay, it's not the doctor. Doctor doesn't know anything about it, besides that he wants that money. Doctor doesn't, they talk, right? And you never need to retract. You wipe it clean like a finger. There's no reason to retract. You don't need to clean underneath it. You got to get yourself educated. But the doctor's not in charge, and your husband, if you're a woman, your husband's not in charge, even if he is confused and he's been circumcised and he's like, well, shouldn't we do it to the baby? Don't you like my penis? And all this fucking shit. That is not, you're in charge. If you're mom, you're in charge. Period. You're the mom. You're in charge. Legally, you're in charge. Unless you sign that right away, you are in charge. And you say no circumcision. And the reason why you would say this, right? Forget about all the facts and all the whatever fucking all this stuff, because you can get lots of facts about it. But there's only one thing that matters, and that is, do you want to lay back? And do you want someone to separate your clitoral hood from your clitoris? And do you want someone to cut off your clitoral hood so that your clitoris is exposed and dry and irritated all day, every day? That's the question. Do you want someone to cut off all of the sensitive tissue that's around your clitoris and just leave the little bud there to be dry and have no skin around it? Would you want your clitoris to be exposed all the time to air and to elements and to clothes, and or do you like having a protective home for it? Do you want to open your legs and have someone cut your genitals with a fucking knife? If the answer is no, well, you've got your answer for your child. And if you say no to yourself and yes to your child, you're a fucking idiot shit cunt. Like, you're fucked up. You're fucked up. You're fucked up. And this is the thing, like, that's fucked up. That's cognitive dissonance. That's like, well, I want to eat meat, but I don't want anyone to skin and cook my dog. Your dog's not that different than a pig. Pig's smarter than your fucking dog, And we all have some cognitive dissonance, obviously. We want to be stop the pipelines, but I'm going to get gas and drive to the pipeline. We've got cognitive dissonance all over the place, and we've got our own personal causes. And genital cutting is one of my causes. Like, well, I really want to inform people to stop doing this. And I understand everyone's got their causes, right? Everyone's got their causes, and we can't have 20 of them maybe at the same time or whatever. But really, I really think, and I'll make more videos about the hows and the whys and how to restore your foreskin once you lose it and all that stuff. I'll make those in the future. But for now, there's only one real question, and that is, do you want to open your legs and have someone hack you up with a knife? Do you want someone to stretch your skin and put it inside of a plastibell thing that makes it, your sweet labial skin that is moist? You want it to dry up and fall off because something's cut off the circulation, because they don't always use a knife. They can use the plastibell, and there's some gonko clamps. There's clamps and stuff, and the average is like 116 babies a year just fucking die from it. That's not counting the ones that bleed out. There's a ton of them bleed out and get blood transplants, and that's I mean, it's not as risky as it was in the 80s, but you don't want your baby having a blood transplant. Why would you even? That's fucking dumb. Why? That's horrifying. But anyway, yeah. So the average is 116 babies that straight up bleed out, and they're not able to save them, and they die because of circumcision. Just circumcision, and the hospital will do it. You can have a baby that's got a malformed heart, or malformed lungs, or some sort of brain aneurysm. They will strap them down, and they will cut them, and they will cry and burst them, and they don't wait for them to be 100% healthy. They will do this procedure on pretty much anyone who will pay for it. And a lot of babies die. A lot of babies get really fucked up. And it's a shame. But the only person that can prevent it is you, mom, or if you want to get involved and you want to actually spread the information, spread the common sense, how much information do you need to not cut somebody's genitals with a fucking knife? Like, how much info do you need? Yeah, how many hours on the computer do you need to look to see, like, oh, well, would I want a knife between my legs? No, not really. I really like for soft things to be down there. Oh, well, maybe I should not pay somebody to cut my child with a knife. And, of course, a lot of these people that do it are really, really, really sick fucks. There's like circumfetishists, which is doctors and people that like to look at pictures of small children getting circumcised, and that have all these fantasies about it. Circumfetishes. It's a fetish. It's a fetish. Some people, it's a weird sort of thing. There's people that get off on that, and then there's there's doctors that, I mean, at the AAP convention, the American Association of Pediatrics, there was a doctor woman there who's like, yeah, I cut off as much as I can. It'd be better for the world just to take the whole thing off. In other words, she was like, I don't know if she was lesbian, but she hated men, she hated sex, and she was saying if I make a mistake and I cut the whole thing off, which happens all the time, they do cut it off, the whole thing off all the time, totally happens, and they try to make them into girls. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Horrible tragedy. People get sued, the whole deal. She says, well, it'd be better if I mess up and I take the whole thing off, it'd be better for everybody. In other words, I don't like dicks. I don't like penises near me or in me. So the best thing I could do would be to make a mistake and cut the whole thing off with this baby. What kind of misandry fucking weirdness is that, Maybe you just have never had sex that you liked because you've been with guys that had really tight circumcisions and had to go really hard and fast in order to feel anything. Maybe you're just projecting, you're just continuing this fucking cycle of horribleness, And yeah, there's things that can be done to help, if you're a circumcised male and you're watching this, we're going to have information coming to you about restoration, which is how you can use the natural capacity of the human body to stretch skin and grow skin. And you can stretch your penile skin in order to cover your glands. And you get a lot of mileage out of that. Even just when you first begin and you get some coverage going with the equipment, the device, even just a little bit of coverage, and then all of a sudden your sensation starts to rise. And your feeling of safety and protection, all these things, but your sensation, starts to go up, which is great. And the circumcision industry is also goes along with the Viagra industry, because in other countries where people are allowed to have their intact penis, it stays really sensitive. Their whole life it stays sensitive, so they could be the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100. They're still having sex. And then maybe not as often, but they're still having sex and they enjoy it. So here, it's like, well, they do it, and then it's like really sensitive, and then it peaks at a certain point, and then starts becoming less sensitive. And different men have different circumcisions. They have different experiences with the sensitivity. But eventually, the sensitivity starts to go way, way down. And by the time you hit 50 or 60, you can't even hardly pop a boner. So people have to, people are taking Viagra and Cialis and all this, and there's nothing wrong with those pills, but for someone who is intact, they have less of a use for those pills. And remember, these pills cost money, right? This is a money industry. So we've got the selling of circumcisions is something that's good. We've got the selling of the foreskin, right? Nobody's saying to mom, hey, do you want us to make a foreskin cream for you? Do you want these stem cells for your son or for you? No, they steal that shit. They steal those foreskins and they turn them into profit. What the, you grew that, if you're a woman, you grew that out of your own tissue for your baby, and they're going to take it and they're going to sell it, and they're not even going to tell you that they're selling it. That's very, very much, that's what's the word? That's unethical. It's definitely unethical. But the whole thing is very unethical. Very, 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 very unethical. Whole thing is very unethical. I think it would be more ethical if I was starving and this guy over there had a chicken, and I shot the guy and took his chicken. I honestly think that that's more ethical than what the doctors do, because they don't need to do it. They don't need to do it to eat. They don't need to do, they can do other things. They've got a fucking doctorate degree. They can do other things for that money. They don't need to rape children with a knife. They don't. Anyway, that's my opinion. And this is video number 1 on circumcision. This is one of the things that it boils my blood. I don't want it anywhere near me. And I get really sad when I look at pornography in America, or if I look at, if I'm with somebody and I look and I see scars, why did somebody think that they have the right, or a group of people think they have the right to skin someone's penis when they're a baby? Because they're skin it. Why would you think that you've got the right to skin someone else's genitals when they're a baby? That's some disgusting stuff. So anyway, like and subscribe. Ask me any questions that you might have about any topic. And all my love. Bye, guys.